One child was killed and two others were wounded when a rocket landed on their home in an Egyptian town near the border with Gaza, security and medical sources said tonight. Sara Salama, 13, died in el-Mattallah, south of Rafah, while her 8-year-old brother Khaled and 2-year-old sister Rahaf sustained serious injuries and were taken to the hospital. The rocket impact is the third to hit the area in recent weeks, security sources said, adding that Egyptian authorities were investigating the incident. Also tonight, a Hamas official said the group had agreed to extend its temporary truce with Israel for another 72 hours. A temporary truce between Israel and Hamas was set to expire at midnight, 10 p.m. BST. The sides have been negotiating a deal in Egypt to end the month-long war in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israeli police said a rocket fired from Gaza landed in Israel this evening. Gaza's ruling Hamas denied any had been fired from the territory. Egyptian security forces have been struggling to quell an Islamist insurgency in Sinai that has killed scores of soldiers and policemen. The violence surged after the army overthrew Islamist President Mohammed Morsi last year and the militants extended their reach to Egypt's mainland with a series of bombings, prompting the army to intensify its attacks on them in Sinai. Egyptian mediators had been racing to pin down a long-term ceasefire between Israel and Hamas to prevent more fighting in the Gaza war when the current truce expires at midnight. The two sides considered an Egyptian proposal that partially addresses their demands, but deep differences had earlier kept the deal in doubt. During the temporary truce, Israel halted military operations in the war-battered coastal territory and Gaza militants stopped firing rockets. News of the rocket comes after it was revealed that an Italian journalist has been killed, alongside his translator and 3 Palestinian bomb disposal experts as they attempted to defuse an unexploded Israeli missile in Gaza. Video journalist Simone Camilli, who worked for the Associated Press, and translator Ali Shada Abu Ofash died when ordnance left over from fighting between Israel and Hamas blew up as Gazan police engineers were working to neutralize it in the town of Beit Lahia. Police said 3 police engineers were also killed, while 4 people, including AP photographer Hadam Moussa, were badly injured. Mr. Camilli, a 35-year-old Italian national, had worked for the Associated Press since being hired as a freelancer in Rome in 2005. He relocated to Jerusalem in 2006 and often covered assignments in Gaza. He is the first foreign journalist killed in the Gaza and leaves behind his longtime partner and a 3-year-old daughter. Mr. Abu Wafash, a 36-year-old Gaza resident, leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters, aged 5 and 6. He often worked with the international media as a translator and news assistant. Najib Jobin, the app's chief producer in Gaza, said Mr. Camilli was a welcome face in Gaza who had recently turned down an assignment in Iraq to come to the Strip. He was my brother. I have known him for almost 10 years. He was so happy to be with me working in Gaza, Mr. Jobin said. He was asked, "Do you want to go to Erbil or Gaza?" He said, "I'll go to Gaza." In a statement, the Gaza police force said it also mourned the deaths of 3 of its men, identifying them as the head of the local bomb squad, his deputy and another officer. During a 72-hour ceasefire between Israel and Hamas which started on Monday, Palestinian bomb disposal experts have taken the opportunity to search for unexploded munitions. Since the latest truce went into effect on Monday, Israel has halted military operations in the coastal territory and Gaza militants have stopped firing rockets. The ceasefire was meant to give the two sides time to negotiate a more sustainable truce and a roadmap for the coastal territory. Egyptian mediators have been ferrying between the Palestinians and their Israeli counterparts in an attempt to overcome the differences between the sides. The Egyptian proposal calls for easing parts of the Israeli blockade of Gaza, bringing some relief to the territory, according to Palestinian officials in the talks. But it was leaving the key areas of disagreement, including Hamas' demand for a full lifting of the blockade and Israeli calls for Hamas to disarm, to later negotiations. Earlier, the Palestinian negotiator said he had some reservations about the proposal and would try to improve it. "We would like to see more cross-border freedom, and also to have the question of a Gaza seaport and airport discussed," he said. The Palestinian officials spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss negotiations with the media. An Israeli government spokesman had no comment on the negotiations. The talks come as pictures emerged of Palestinian men vying with each other and handing over their IDs so that they can receive food aid at a UN center in Gaza City. The UN have distributed food assistance to 1.1 million Gazans even before the latest conflict.